Alright folks, it's time for me to take some accountability. I didn't do my due diligence. I made a mistake. When I made my previous video about Sungrand Studios, it was the result of having looked at some bits and pieces on his channel during a live stream that triggered me to think, I need to tell people. I knocked out a video very quickly with some nuggets of info I thought viewers should be aware of. However, having looked at some more of his content in depth, my opinion has changed. I think this guy is absolutely, genuinely Looney Tunes bonkers. What I think has happened with Gerald is that he is a crazy person trying to be comedic. As a result, people have taken everything he says as sarcasm. But despite his delivery, I think he's deadly serious about most of what he says. See, as I was doing some other work, for a fun project you might find out about someday, I decided to let his videos play in the background. And one video in particular completely rearranged my perspective on the guy. He is not just a cynical manipulator and grifter. He is totally out of his mind. The video in question is titled, Dear Doug Bowser, Nintendo of America President, May we talk about Switch 2? Very funny, right? What a novel, rhetorical device. He's pretending he has Nintendo's ear, and talking as if he's being listened to directly. Cute, quirky delivery of a point, right? Except I think he's deadly serious. He thinks they're listening, and he wants a job. What this video truly does is it ties together a lot of his recent behavior in a really funny way, but also a very sad way. The layers of his madness are incredibly dense, so please bear with me as I try to lay it out. We'll start with him flexing his credentials.
Hello, Mr. Bowser. My name is Jarrell Dulé. I develop games.
He develops shovelware garbage. His goal, in fact, is to pump out one game a month. Not as a fun project, but as his business strategy.
I'm currently on track to launch one game a month. So if I take 3 months developing, say for example, a Dreamcast version of a game, that is 3 commercial titles that I will have not developed, which means that I am losing a significant amount of money.
As a game dev, he is the lowest of the low. A solo dev aiming to shit out overpriced garbage every single month.
In the past, I've worked as industry consultant.
He has talked about this before in some slight detail. He claims to have been a consultant for Canon, Nikon, and Fujifilm.
I'm an industry consultant, and I have helped guide major companies in the photography industry like Canon, Nikon, and Fujifilm by providing insight and vision with these industry leaders.
He also claims to have been a
PR manager and liaison,
and an
event manager.
I can't find any direct commentary on the middle claim, but regarding being a consultant and event manager, both of these are related to his claims regarding one of his many cancer friends, specifically regarding the one he claims died at the end of March.
And then about 2 weeks ago, a very close friend of mine died of cancer. Leukemia. And this is a friend that got me in to the photography industry. I wasn't a professional at the time, but he brought me in to work in the photography industry. And we talked a few times before I started working with him. And he was really dead set on having me work with him in the photography industry, and I didn't understand it. And he, after we met, a couple months later, he came back to me and he said, look, and he's a veteran. He pioneered the photography industry.
Steve Nikon himself? William Cannon? Shigeru Fujifilm? Who is it? If he's this famous pioneer of the photography industry, what point is there in keeping him anonymous? Google's kinda hard to use these days. I can't find this pioneer dying of leukemia in late March. Please tell us more. If he's this big name, you don't need to hide him. Gerald continues to tell us how this old man sucked him off.
And he told me, look, after we met, I've been trying to meet other people your age. I've been talking to other people your age. And he said, I haven't met anyone else like you. I was wondering if this is just how people your age are, or if you're an outlier. And he said something to me that I didn't understand at the time. I was too young to understand. And he said to me, your eyes are so clear.
It gets me every time. How did anyone fall for this guy?
He said, I bet you can see the world for what it is.
I held back on this guy because I didn't want to get a strike for bullying or something. But what the hell is this?
But he said, would you do some work for me in the photography industry? I need someone to do some work. And I was intimidated because that's industry work, that's professional. I said, look, I'm not a professional, and he said, well, you know, I need someone to do some work. I need event work. I need this. I need consulting and this and that.
Event work and consulting. This is where that credential comes from. Now it's my turn to share a personal story. I don't make a massive amount of money dicking around online doing this stuff. Way more than I probably should make for just doing this stuff. But I'm not ballin', and I'm highly aware of the volatility. So I'm always pursuing things where possible, such as event work. When a large company is running an event or has a stall at an event, their basic workforce might not be enough. Sometimes they need more people to move boxes. Sometimes they draft from friends and family first. Other times they'll use third-party designers to take the load off their internal team. Forgive me, but given what I've seen of this guy's design work, I don't buy it. I do not buy that he was brought in to be the savior of a photography company. Show us your portfolio. Gerald, this is your professional studio's website. You have the aesthetic expertise of a koala with Down syndrome. And there's one more credential he shares.
Public speaker.
You might think that he's referring to his YouTube content, but on his long-dead website only accessible via the Wayback Machine, we can see there's a speaking section from years and years and years ago. May I see some? People think you talk like a deranged retard as a joke, because it's the only way you've ever spoken on your YouTube channel. Please, would you let us have a look at you not speaking like this? I've seen some of your photography, by the way. You suck ass. I have a theory. Alright, bear with me. Gerald has at least 4 cancer friend stories. There's the photography mentor who died a few weeks ago. In 2016, he had a friend die in his arms.
On August 3rd at 8:15, I held Buzz in my hands as he took his final breath.
At the end of last year, his friend Scotty, who also had cancer, blew himself up.
I promised Scotty that I would come back and spend time with him. I said, hang in there. I'll come back as soon as I can. I'll spend time with you. That was back in 2023. So last year I learned that Scotty lit a cigarette next to his oxygen tank and he burned himself to death.
And he has a current friend who is terminally ill with cancer.
There's a friend of mine now that probably has only until the end of the year, most likely less. He's also dealing with cancer.
What if this guy is so bad at everything he does that even when he tries to make friends, he gives them cancer? I'm just kidding. In seriousness, that really sucks, man. I feel for you. I was a carer for people with spinal injuries for a year or so. Being around people with serious struggles can take a toll. But what if I told you that all of these stories are part of his ploy to get a job at Nintendo? In his message to Doug Bowser, he reasserts over and over and over again that Nintendo needs someone who brings that human element.
Right now, Nintendo would really benefit from a human element in the way that it is communicating with consumers right now.
In that horrendous video I showed you last time where he talks down to his audience, the now privated video, all he's talking about is these videos being a bridge between consumers and the industry. That all his videos over the past couple of weeks have been a message to corporations.
I told you these videos are prompts to show the industry how you respond to stimulus.
He's trying to message Nintendo, and the Doug Bowser message is the culmination of all of that. Hey, you need someone with all these features, and all his videos in the last couple weeks are him demonstrating how he has those features he thinks Nintendo needs. Let me show you some more examples. In the Doug Bowser message, he says,
what people really need is more clarity and transparency as to the reason why prices are the way they are. Why are certain decisions being made in response to the way that games are being distributed and sold.
He has a video explaining the cartridges. He has a video explaining why prices are the way they are because of inflation. Or at least he tries to explain.
Inflation is simply part of our world. It is always there. It sucks. Dollar values increasing are unpleasant.
Wow, so human.
If Nintendo does not increase their prices to keep up with inflation, the way the rest of the world is doing, then the quality of the products will be worse, significantly.
Incredible explanation, and that's the only element. Consumer perception of value and willingness to buy these things isn't itself something that needs to be considered, of course. They need to sell games for more, so you have to buy it. That's it. Incredible analysis. But I digress. Can you see what this nut has been doing yet? Let me give you another example.
Nintendo would really benefit from someone who can work with a team to filter through the noise.
Nintendo really needs someone who can work with a team. Who's been working with a team? Let me show you a clip from another one of his privated videos.
When we were posting videos together, it felt like we were on a team. And it was so great. And the work that you guys are doing for the industry is so important.
Look, dog, he's got a team that can do what Nintendo needs a team to do, and he can work with them. Let's look what else Nintendo needs.
It would be great if Nintendo could communicate with people by stepping away from the corporate stage and this sort of corporate manner of speaking in a very formal way and discussing things in a human way.
Well, guess what Gerald's doing? He's putting away the suit. He's not going to be saying he's an industry professional over and over again. Nowadays, he says,
I'm here just as some dude. I'm just a guy. I'm not trying to be some idol or look at me, I'm some fancy internet dude.
the perfect spokesperson. A man of the people. There is a lot, but let's just do one more.
It's not your job. It's not Nintendo's job to bring any kind of positivity or hope to the world. But I personally hope that you will try anyway.
And who could do that for them? What has Gerald been saying over and over again these past couple weeks?
I'm expending the majority of my energy right now on staying positive.
And to cap off this madness of a video, he says,
I really wish there was a way I could help the situation. If you guys would like to contact me, you have my contact information. Your people know how to contact me.
wow, he's got those industry connections. And to be fair, I am sure they technically have it. Yeah, I have that info too. I've got his phone number. It's in the press releases for his games. Sungrand Studios isn't some sarcastic master of comedy with a master plan for his channel to reshape the industry. He just needs to take his meds.